It all makes sense and it goes together with the decor, the service, the wine serving. And so we want to be the restaurant, not that does a little bit of everything. We want to be the best French restaurant in London, you know.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Hello, it's 11 o'clock, which means it's time for tomorrow's newspapers tonight. Join us over the next hour to find out how long MPs think is too long to be at work, how much it really matters if you win or lose, and we get the latest on ladies' man Greg Wallace tasty. I'm Cressida Wetton, and tonight's comedians are Paul Cox and Ben Adams, taking you through tomorrow's top stories. This is Headliners. But before tomorrow's news, let's go to tonight's headlines with Sam Francis.
Very good evening to you. The top stories at 11 o'clock. Well, more than 20,000 migrants have crossed the English Channel since Sir Keir Starmer became Prime Minister in July, hitting that milestone in 5 months. That's quicker than during Rishi Sunak's time in number 10, where it took 8.5 months to reach the same figure. However, the Prime Minister accused the Conservatives of opening the borders and promised to cut numbers after record high asylum costs of £5 billion. It also comes as 50 people have died so far attempting the journey this year, making 2024 the deadliest year on record. Greg Wallace is facing backlash tonight after dismissing allegations of historical misconduct, claiming it's been driven by middle-class women of a certain age, he said. One accuser says it shows he clearly hasn't learnt his lesson, while another says he's trying to portray himself as the victim of classism. The claims against him include inappropriate jokes and requests for female staff's phone numbers. The 60-year-old stepped aside from MasterChef after an investigation revealed 13 complaints of inappropriate behaviour spanning some 17 years. Wallace's lawyers, though, say he has nothing to hide after working with thousands of contestants, while the BBC says it takes all complaints seriously. The 34-year-old man has been arrested on suspicion of rape at the Groucho Club in London's Soho. The arrest took place on Saturday night at an address in Hertfordshire, according to the Metropolitan Police. At this stage, the force says there is no suggestion that any employees of the club were involved. The Groucho Club, a private members venue popular with celebrities, had its licence suspended earlier this week following a request by the Met Police. We understand the woman who reported the incident is being supported by specialist officers. Russia's new defence budget, described as the most secretive since the Soviet era, has sparked fresh warnings, with a third of it being kept under wraps. Vladimir Putin has just signed a huge 25% increase, pushing military spending to now nearly a third of the entire Russian budget. That's £99.5 billion being funnelled into defence as the war in Ukraine continues to drain Russian resources. It also comes as sanctions on Gazprom Bank, that's Russia's oil and gas payment hub, have sent the ruble plunging to record lows against the dollar. In Wales, dozens of homes have been evacuated today after a sinkhole up to 60 feet deep appeared at the bottom of a resident's driveway in Merthyr Tydfil. Residents there say they heard rumbling and collapsing overnight, fearing their homes could be swallowed. The sinkhole is believed to have been triggered by a collapsed culvert just days after heavy rain from Storm Bird brought severe flooding. South Wales Police and fire and rescue crews are on site, with authorities warning people to stay away as more rain threatens to make the situation much worse. And it's been a mild weekend across much of the UK, some of you experiencing highs of up to 16 degrees, but sorry to tell you, it's about to come to an abrupt end this week. Temperatures are expected to plunge to as low as -7 in Scotland tomorrow, bringing frost, ice and freezing fog. The Met Office is also warning that rain is moving in from the west throughout the week and could turn to snow on higher ground, causing disruption for many. That's it from the newsroom for tonight. We'll be back with you with all the headlines tomorrow morning. Now, though, I can hand you straight over to Headliners.
For the very latest GB News direct to your smartphone, sign up to News Alerts by scanning the QR code or go to gbnews.com/alerts.
Hello and welcome to Headliners. Your first look at What day are we today? Sunday. I don't know what day it is. That's how stressed I am. I've got no idea. It could be any day. It's one that ends in Y. Let's have a think about tomorrow's news tonight. How about that for a night?
Let's do it. You're doing well, Chris.
Fine. Thanks, Paul. Thank you. So I'm joined tonight by Paul Cox, Ben Adams. Welcome. How are you both?
Yes, lovely.
Yeah.
Sorry, I thought I'd act confused just to finish it.
Before we get into it, let's have a look at Monday's front pages. Great idea. Telegraph leads with Wallace. Middle-class women of a certain age cause row. The Express has Labour budget will cost economy $10 billion. The I newspaper has British public backs closer EU trade deal, Trump deal. The Times has Labour NHS target will make A&E waits worse. The Mirror has disaster chef. Wonder who that's about. And the Daily Star has when you're in a really, really, really deep hole, stop digging. Great idea. Plenty of news there. Paul, let's start with Monday's Express.
Let's absolutely start with the Daily Express on Monday, and in honour of Lewis Schaefer, £1.60. Labour budget will cost economy £10 billion. So Labour's budget raid on family firms will risk more than 125,000 jobs and cost the economy £10 billion, a report claims. And this budget is becoming like one of those hidden picture stereograms. The more you look... Do you remember those from the 90s?
Yes.
Magic eye. You just kept staring at them
to go cross-eyed.
The more you look at it, the more you see. In this case, with the budget, the worse it gets. So we're in a situation here where... And it's not just the right-wing media, it's the left-wing media as well, continually look at this budget and think, hang on a minute, just pinging out one side and going, well, that looks rubbish. We're finding ourselves in a situation where Rachel Reeves seems to brought about this budget that's going to cause havoc for our economy, believe it or not. And it's a real worry. It's a real worry, I think, because
everyone's worried. We've had all these major supermarkets saying we're letting people go and it's all going to get worse. And
I know.
It's like the people at the bottom are going to lose work.
They are, but what I love seeing is what you just said about, like, the left-wing media is just and Labour supporters are trying their best to, oh no, Labour are quite good, they're quite good, and they're just every single day it just comes out, no.
It's like a beloved family member for them, isn't it, that soiled themselves at Christmas dinner, and we're all trying our best to pretend it didn't happen, but this budget is one great big pile of soiled pants.
You can taste it in the air.
I don't know whether my nan was worth $10 billion. I don't know if that even works. OK, let's have a look at the Eye, please, Ben.
No worries. So the Eye have put British public backs closer EU trade deal over Trump deal. This is apparently 47% of the British public would rather see us go more involved with the EU than ever acknowledge a trade deal with America. I don't really understand. 47%, don't know where that's come from. Were you asked?
No, I wasn't. No. I was just thinking it's the worst would you rather I've ever heard. It's really boring.
Well, I don't know. I'm thinking, I mean, obviously with the coronated chicken... Is it yes?
Chlorinated.
Chlorinated, not coronated. That's coronation chicken.
That's much more delicious.
Which I don't like, to be fair. I'd rather have chlorinated chicken. But I'm thinking with RFK Jr. in, maybe America's food will get a little bit better. You know, the standards will increase. So the trade deal might be quite good. I'm a big supporter of Brexit, so anything that supports that I'm good for. And I don't know why they're always saying this. Oh, everyone's against it. Let's go back on Brexit. Let's just cuddle up to the EU. No, let's not do that.
Yeah, and I think the point here is that this is not half of all voters. This is half of all people, and not even half of all the people that the Eye newspaper, which isn't actually a real newspaper, again in honour of Lewis Schaefer, have questioned. So I mean,
he said he's not a real pundit.
No, well, he's not even a real person, to be fair. What we need is a good deal with both Europe and the US, but we especially need a good deal with our biggest trading partner, which is the US, which doesn't get brought into this story whatsoever. Just to give you the statistics, we do 22% of our trade with the US, and nearest to that in second place is 7% with Germany. So we can do what we like with the EU. And the idea that we have better trading partnership with the EU after Brexit, even Brexiteers wouldn't argue with that. But on terms that we all agree with, on terms that support Britain's sovereignty, on terms that support Britain. However, Trump coming in as president, it is a big deal, and I think he could produce big deals for the UK.
It's what we've wanted since his first term was these trade deals.
We need to get in before the Democrats get back in, because they don't favour us in the same way. Obviously, Joe Biden has his issues. He favoured the Irish over the UK, all that sort of stuff.
He favoured ice cream over the UK. He just loved his ice cream.
And his carer.
I love the way you're saying we.
Yes, we.
Paul's in charge. He's in charge of the trade deals.
What you don't understand, Cressida, is that I am very powerful.
I respect that.
Incredibly
That's your reality, and I respect it. Let's move on to the Times, please, Paul.
Well, there's lots of story on the Times. I'm going to start with the top story, which is the Russian airstrikes hitting Syria as Assad vows to crush the rebellion. Now, of course, that's kicked off. We've got all this other... The Middle East is on fire, and now we just added petrol to it with Syria kicking off again. And the rebels have taken over Aleppo, which is the capital, and Assad has had his sort of dastardly grip on this for some time now. Best part of 10 years. And we kind of forgot he was the world's biggest baddie, because lots of other baddies have come onto the scene. But what's important about this is Russian airstrikes. So Russia are supporting Syria, as they always have done, the Assad part of Syria. And this is like them opening up a second front, because obviously they're fighting in the Ukraine, and now they're back to fighting in Syria. This might lead to a ceasefire with the Ukraine. I don't know. It might stretch them too far and help both sides. But one thing's for certain is this is not good. No. This is not good at all. And the Middle... Is there anywhere in the Middle East at the moment where there's any sign of peace?
No, nowhere I'd like to go, to be honest, at the moment.
And I was hoping to go to Syria next year, but I'll see how this goes on.
Ah, damn it.
Fair enough. All right. Can we have a look at the Daily Star, please, Ben?
The Daily Star has put, when you're in a really, really deep hole, stop, dig in. This is about Greg Wallace and his... professional conduct, where he's been not abusing, but he's been saying some innuendos and a lot of...
Well, I think we're still at the allegedly.
Are we? OK, allegedly.
Remind ourselves that his lawyers, I believe, are saying that, no, that's absolutely not the case.
Right, OK.
Yeah, Paul.
Oh, I thought it was all out. OK.
No, absolutely not. This is completely alleged by a group of ladies, and we shouldn't... OK. We should not assume any guilt anywhere, and we don't know anything at this stage. What we do know is Greg Wallace is proving he's not misogynist by coming out and saying misogynist things, which is a new strategy in this age of progressivism.
I like that the Daily Star are like, all right, Greg, just you've done what you've done, but let's not make it worse.
It was hard to pick a headline. I think the Metro had women of a certain rage, which I was quite tempted by. There's loads. It's on every... This is really taken...
He seems entirely unabashed by this. It's as if he's going, do you know what? I've got nothing to lose, because as far as the public court are concerned, I'm going to be guilty. So I am going out I am going to fight this on my terms. And his terms is to prove to us that there's a good chance that he thinks a certain way, like a man of his age does, a 62-year-old man.
Yeah. Well, that's very interesting. I wonder if he's sort of playing this, thinking that maybe people will support him. I know there's been his mate, I've forgotten his name, guy who's done some TV with him, came out and said, no, he's a good bloke, he's got a potty mouth, he's out of his he's in the wrong time.
Not John Turode.
So
I don't think John Turode likes him. The guy on MasterChef, the Australian.
Yeah, maybe not. I don't know.
I don't think I've ever watched.
I mean, what's going to be apparent?
Full of sexism.
Our viewers are going to view this. A lot of our viewers are going to view this differently. They're going to see this as just more of this progressivism. We can't talk too openly about it. We'll get criticised on Twitter, that's why I'm mentioning this, for not talking about this too openly, or maybe hedging bets or whatever. And the reason we do that is because this is a live case, and we don't want to prejudice it in any way. One thing I will say is there will be a whole swathe of our nation that will see the sort of banter that is...
To be clear, I don't think it's a criminal case.
It's not a criminal case.
It's in the
but anyway,
course of public opinion.
However, you still don't want to prejudice it in any way. We don't want to assume any guilt. And if, for instance, there are people that have been affected by this, then we should also respect that. But one thing's for certain is there will be a large group of people that will find this all far too incredible that it's happening once again. We've got case after case coming forward that's decades old.
That's been protected by the BBC. Is that what you're saying?
Well, potentially, yeah.
I don't know. I don't find it difficult to think that these people are genuinely offended. I mean, that's... That's not a stretch
No.
at all.
But that
is it?
happens in a workplace, doesn't it?
Well, it does, but isn't
you come
it
across
so
these
strange
sort of
because you
people.
think of the BBC as this super woke modern place, and then you find out that this is relatively recent. This isn't an old case like some of the, and it's obviously not the same stuff. I should say that again. I
think of the BBC like Michael Jackson's Neverland at this point. I feel like it's just a bad place that we shouldn't be sending children to.
Interesting. OK, that's the front pages looked at. Still to come, who's to blame for encouraging illegal migration? Can you squeeze an MP's entire workday into 6 hours? Depends how much they're working, I suppose. And what's new? What's the new medical bill that you might have to fork out for in future? This is Headliners, only on GB News.
This is GB News, Britain's news channel.
Catherine Richards and Jake Singleton-Hill featured on the reality show Love is Blind.
Well, Catherine and Jake are joining us now in the studio for Saturday Morning Live. Thank you very much for joining us. And this is perhaps not the end result that people might have thought that they'd be seeing at this point, because you were both on the show, but you didn't fall in love in the pods, did you?
No, we didn't. I rejected him.
You guys look great together.
Yeah.
Very happy as well. It seemed like you guys were really strong, and it almost seemed like Freddie, after he admitted to you that he'd cheated in the past...
I actually respected the fact that he told me up front. I didn't even want to have that conversation, obviously. That was a conversation that we got told to talk about. And I respected his decision, but I think he felt that I was holding this grudge towards him that she really doesn't like, and which was not, and he knew this, because off camera we had many conversations where I was like, thank you for owning up, like, we can just move on from this. But if anything, I think he just felt guilty the whole entire time, and he put that on me, which is fine, but yeah, there's obviously a lot that people don't see.
So for viewers who don't know, Love is Blind is where you go and seek love and romance, but you don't see who you're speaking to, right?
No.
So, Jake, why did you go on the show?
My parents actually met in a very similar way. So my stepdad was texting my mum. He'd basically stolen the number off of a friend because the friend had met my mum in Blackpool, and they were texting for like 6 months. They'd never met. So that premise of how they got together and the marriage that they had was stunning. And to build a relationship not based on looks before you met, I just found that just incredible.
So do you believe in that concept? Is it lust or love at first sight?
It's weird.
It's a bit of both.
I think, it's definitely a bit of both. And I would say, as you get older, your looks will change, but your personality will stay the same.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Go to gbnews.com/shop now and take advantage of our biggest ever Black Friday sale with 25% off all items across our store and free shipping on orders worth £60 or more. There's never been a better time to grab something for the GB News fan in your life. From our signature clothing to drinkware, gifts, accessories and much, much more, you'll find the perfect present this festive season. Use the code BLACKFRIDAY25 on checkout at gbnews.com/shop for our best ever Black Friday deals.
Welcome to State of the Nation, daily plunge into the stories shaping our country. I'm Jacob Rees-Mogg, and Monday to Thursday we bring you the insights, the facts, the truth about how our country is being governed. Because what happens in Downing Street matters down your street. Tune in to State of the Nation every Monday to Thursday, 8 to 9 o'clock. Only on GB News, the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. I'm Cressida Wetton, still joined by Paul Cox and Ben Adams. So, beginning with Monday's Telegraph and Pat McFadden demonstrating that if at first you don't succeed, you should scrap your objectives altogether, Paul.
Yeah, why not? Migration cap, not an option, despite record numbers amidst government. So this is Pat McFadden, as you said, rejected the idea of a simple target number, saying that this had failed when tried by the Conservative administration in the past. Pat McFadden is our new Chancellor of the Duchy of Lancaster, and this comes on the back of Met migration hitting a record high of just over 900,000 last year.
Impressive.
And the large number. We should, in my opinion, we should be doing something drastic here. Yeah. However, the reason Labour won't, and the reason it failed under the Conservatives, is because neither of them, or anyone in power, has actually had the courage to do what's required. And what's required would require deportation, lessening the grip that the dastardly human rights lawyers have over that entire process, because it's just a money-making cash cow for them, and leaving the ECHR. Now, leaving the ECHR to a lot of people sounds like it's some sort of hideous thing, because, you know, this is what we did after the Second World War to prevent the Nazis again. Well, the Second World, in 1940s, late 1940s, was a very different landscape to what we have now. And what we have now is an ECHR captured by ideology and a group of human rights lawyers who are absolutely exploiting this to get to death, and they're encouraging the gangs to work. Now, if you tackle that and you give yourself sovereignty and the ability to be able to do something about it, we will be able to bring these numbers down, because we will be able to deport, we will be able to stop people coming in, and we'll be able to look at who's here and say, should they be here?
Well, and it might be less attractive to try crossing the channel. It's a bit like a "don't feed the pigeon" sign, isn't it? You don't want to reward bad behaviour.
It's just all nicey. Oh, let's do this. Oh, the figures are higher. No, we'll have one. Let one person in, make it like a TV show or something. I don't know.
That's a great idea.
Yeah, just one, and then it'll get all the numbers. It'd be great. But no, it's just nicey. It just needs to stop. And then, like you say, if you stop the boats and you don't allow them to come over, or you deport them, then that will stop the gangs. That's the only way of doing it. And it's like, it's coming up to Christmas, right? You've got people coming over for Christmas. Suddenly, 10 people come into your house. They're eating all the...
I thought you meant people coming over the channel for Christmas.
Yeah,
that's why they're coming.
No, they go back for Christmas. They go back to their country and then come back here after Christmas. No, but if you've got if you're having a family gathering and then all these people are coming in for Christmas, they eat the Quality Street, they sexually assault your niece, you wouldn't have them. You'd say, right, the door is shutting. It's not going to happen anymore.
One of the things Pat McFadden would say is that they aren't necessarily here to eat your Quality Street. And I watched some of this interview with Trevor Phillips, and he said, well, what if we capped it at, let's say, 200,000? And I thought, well, pigs might fly. But let's say we capped it at 200,000, and then the 200,001st person was coming over and they were going to fill a job. And I thought, that's not an argument, is it? Because...
Also, what system waits till you get to 200,000 and then starts to question the next person that's coming in? It's all a nonsense.
I thought he wasn't answering the questions in the
He wasn't. He definitely wasn't. And you know what? Let's start with illegal immigration. Let's get rid of illegal immigration.
Exactly. Like, why is that such an issue?
You know, no one says this. No, oh, it's a problem. We've got to smash the gangs.
Yeah.
And then where was our Minister of State recently? I think in Iraq or somewhere, Iraq, I think, having chats with all sorts of people stood around in uniform, going, "Yes, we're going to help you smash the gangs." No, stand on the border and stop them getting in.
Yep,
please.
Perfect. There you go. Simple. Daily Mail next, and the Director General of Immigration Enforcement has pointed the finger at the wrong uns causing illegal immigration. Who is it, Ben?
Well, apparently it's people that work in nail bars. So Brits using cash-only nail bars, barbers or car washes are feeding the problem of illegal migration and fuelling slavery, warns top Home Office official.
So it's actually the Brits using these places?
Well, this is what... so Baz Javid, the Director General Immigration Enforcement, he is basically saying that. He's saying it's our fault and we should be policing this. And don't go to car washes that are illegal. Don't go to nail bars that are illegal. Maybe just don't go to nail bars. You are part of the problem. No. But it's just madness that we have to police this ourselves. Like, is he suggesting that we go to a car wash, look at the people that are working there?
Yes, it says look at the conditions. He urges customers to look at the conditions and the way that people operate.
Well, that to me sounds... I mean, it sounds a little bit racist to me. It sounds a little bit judgmental. If you're going to these car washes and going, no, you look illegal, so I'm not going to get my car washed by you. So, yeah, it's not on us.
But having said that, I've seen stories before that we've covered on Headliners about the Deliveroo guys, and there are some absolute horror stories. So this is sort of... I mean, this is true, isn't it? There are people suffering. This is modern-day slavery.
Yeah, potentially. I mean, I use cash barbers. I use a cash car wash, and let me tell you, the more illegal they are, the better the job. It is not my problem to manage. This is not my problem. And if I walk into this bar, look, exactly as you do, just walk into the bar and go, hang on a minute. No.
Exactly.
I'm not coming in here. Do you only take cash? Look, I worry with situations like... First of all, I should make a point. The local authorities are the ones that give them the shops, that give them the land, that give them the licence, that give them the place to operate, OK? Local authorities and central government should be managing this, not you or I.
Absolutely.
However, I worry that they're chucking cash into this as a way of eradicating cash as well, because I don't want to see a cashless society.
Bonus on this.
Well, it is, isn't it? Do you know what? If you go and pay cash to someone, they're probably nasty
You're right. That's what he's saying. He's saying cash basically is the problem.
And Baz Javid, he's got a difficult job, and he's doing pretty badly at it.
Well, we're in The Independent now, and amidst the cost of living crisis, there's an ironic new toll to worry about.
Yeah, assisted dying patients could pay to die. Oh, my goodness. I've paid to park, but I don't know if I want to pay to die. That suggests government minister. This is Pat McFadden again. I think we're going to see a lot of Pat McFadden, our Duchy of Lancaster. He said it was right to consider whether patients should cover the cost of assisted death themselves, citing the fact that this is what happens when people go to Switzerland to end their lives. Absolutely.
Yeah, and that's one of the issues with going to Switzerland, is that everybody doesn't have 10 grand. I mean, he hasn't given us a figure.
I mean, the trouble with this is it's become a left and right issue, and this is not a left and right issue. It's literally a matter of life and death, and it's a moral problem. But it's become
I don't think it's a left and right issue. We had Diane Abbott recently saying she wasn't happy with the safeguarding. I don't see it as a left-right issue.
OK, maybe not. Maybe not. I just my lived experience, Chris. And if you are bringing that into judgment, then we're going to have to. I don't know what we're going to have to do. You just carry on being
Is it going to be like dentists, where you have to find an NHS dentist, which are very hard to find? Yes. So then you're going to have to find an NHS. Someone that can kill you on the NHS.
We'll probably end up
going to be slightly worse.
There'll probably be loads of immigration cash-only death chambers all along the high street by the end of next year.
What really bothers me is I don't think assisted dying will be expensive. I think it's potentially, and this is one of Diane Abbott's points, it's potentially going to save the government a load of money, and that's what's so sinister about it. So this is almost, I think, am I being told this so that I think the opposite? Is this...
I mean, Diane Abbott did once leave the house with 2 left shoes on. So she cannot be trusted. I think maybe could we pay to kill other people? Could we maybe sort of...
You can already do that.
Can you?
It's just if you get caught, you get to go to prison.
Oh, OK.
If there's room. Moving to the Daily Mail, and another story about entitled youngsters who want to play on the internet all day and not do any work, Ben.
Indeed. Now, work-shy MPs are demanding Parliament's working hours to be cut from 10 a.m. till 4 p.m, and some want debates to be held online. This is, like you say, just work-shy people. Oh, I'm in the office for ages, I don't want to have to do my job. I actually worked in the House of Commons gift shop, I'll just add that. And the whole time I was there, I think there's 3 bars in there, and they're all the MPs are chilling out, having subsidised beers, and then the bell goes, and then you go in half cut to the Commons, and you give your little bully, the right honourable gentleman. So that to me is quite an easy, chilled job. And they want to make it even less. They don't really want to be there for that long.
Well, apparently they go on into the night. So it says that they... It's really odd. Different... Yeah, maybe that's...
Yeah, I'm not joking.
Different days have different hours, which is very strange. And there's this 5:30 finish on a Thursday where many MPs travel to their constituencies. Early start to the weekend. Mm-hmm. What do you think, Paul? Do you think...
Do you know what? I'd love to indulge in this in the same way Ben has. And up until about 6 months ago, I would have heartily done so. But I actually personally know a new MP now. I won't say her name because it's probably not in her best interest for her constituents to know that she's friends with someone who works here. However, if you do it well, and she does do it well, it's a very tiring and taxing job.
Oh, absolutely, yeah.
So outside of the work they do within the Houses of Parliament, they also do a huge amount of constituency work, and unbeknownst to me before this year, at their own cost. Often as well. Since the expenses scandal of 10, 15 years ago, it's very difficult to claim expenses for lots of things. I know that we're going to cover a story a bit later about energy bills, etc., but it's not quite the grift it used to be. So,
especially not if you've got a hangover when you're doing it. Still to come, so we've got to move on. Find out which famous actor has called BS on cultural appropriation. Find out who's changed their mind about trans women breastfeeding and what's happened for the very first time in Belgium before anywhere else. This is Headliners only on GB News.
Good evening. Welcome to your latest GB News weather from the Met Office. There's been plenty of showers around for many of us this weekend, but it will be turning colder as we head into the start of the new working week. That's all thanks to this area of low pressure moving away towards Scandinavia, leaving northerly winds across the UK as we head into the start of Monday and Tuesday. Back to the rest of Sunday, though, plenty of showers around, these clearing their way eastwards as we head through the evening and turning increasingly to sleet and snow across northern parts of Scotland, particularly over any high ground. Further south and further east, we will see some clearer spells developing during the early hours, and for most of us, it'll be a much colder night than we've seen recently. Only 3 or 4 degrees across parts of Scotland and only around 6 or 7 degrees across much of England and Wales. So quite a chilly start across parts of Scotland during Monday morning, perhaps some ice around in places, so do take care during Monday morning's rush hour. But we'll see those sleet and snow showers continuing across the far north as we go through Monday daytime. Across Northern Ireland, there will still be some showers around, these likely falling as rain for most places. And across northern parts of England, quite a cloudy and damp start to the day. But for the rest of England and Wales, generally a drier and brighter start to the day, albeit some scattered showers across western areas. That area of showery rain across northern parts of England continues to sink its way southwards in towards Monday afternoon, and we'll still see those sleet and snow showers across parts of Scotland into the afternoon as well. But for most of us, it should be turning a little bit drier through the afternoon, with plenty of sunshine and blue skies on offer, and feeling much colder than we've seen recently. Only 10 or 11 degrees in the south and 5 or 6 further north, and with some brisk northerly winds across eastern coast, feeling colder still. A cold start to Tuesday as well, quite a widespread frost across the UK, but turning increasingly cloudy from the west as we see this weather front pushing its way eastwards into the afternoon, likely to turn to sleet and snow over hills in the north. Further wet and windy weather is likely through Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll see those temperatures on the rise too, back to around, if not above average for the time of year.
I'm Christopher Hope. From pop stars to politicians, I'll interview anybody in a pub who's got a political opinion. Join me every Friday on Spotify, Apple Podcasts, YouTube or gbnews.com, or wherever you get your podcasts. This is GB News, the People's Channel.
This is Britain's newsroom, where your voice matters.
It's just astonishing. With expert analysis and honest opinion, we don't just keep you informed.
We bring you unique perspectives you won't see anywhere else.
Can't argue with any of that. When the news happens, it happens here.
On Britain's newsroom, weekdays from 9:30 a.m.
Only on GB News.
If you want your news to be straight talking...
This is the nightmare for the Conservatives again.
Down to earth.
It's not just Nottingham where this is happening, is it?
And most importantly, honest.
Hard-working, middle-class taxpayers, they'll get their book thrown at them.
Then catch me, Martin Daubney, Monday to Friday, 3 till 6 p.m. on GB News, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. You've been sending in your comments during the break. Some of them are lovely. Reeb Evans says, comedians do not crack a joke on Cressida's watch as she will panic and move you on or shut you up. You should meet me in real life, Reeb. It's so much worse. OK, let's have another look at Monday's front pages before we crack on. The Telegraph leads with Wallace, middle-class women of a certain age caused row. The Express has Labour budget will cost economy $10 billion. The Eye has British public backs closer EU trade deal over Trump deal. And The Times has Labour NHS target will make A&E waits worse. The Mirror has disaster chef, and the Daily Star has when you're in a really, really, really deep hole, stop digging. OK, opening this section with the Daily Mail and news that Rupert Everett won't be typecast as Rupert Everett, Ben.
Rupert Everett lashes out at cultural appropriation bull poo. talking over acting and fears the activists are in charge. Rupert Everett has got a new book out, The American No, or American Number, I believe The American No. And he's basically saying that, yeah, the activists are in charge of all these parts, and women have to play women, and men have to play men, and gay people have to play gay people, and camels have to play camels, he also said.
I think that one's fair.
I think that's fair. I've never seen a camel give a good...
There's the occasional horse out there appropriating a camel.
But it's a horse identified as a camel, so it's fine.
Same thing.
It's just the genitals that let it down. So I think, personally, people should be able to play anything. I think this is an attack on art. I think if you're an actor... You know, that's your whole trade. That's your whole thing. That's the whole expression, is to be able to play anything you want. And, yeah, it's ridiculous. Where does it stop? And if you've got The Elephant Man and it's being played, it has to be played by James O'Brien.
Or by an elephant.
That's not
Surely.
fair. Yeah.
It has to
or
be
an actual
played.
elephant.
He's right, James O'Brien. If you take it to the nth degree, you can only play yourself.
Yeah.
There's no acting.
Yeah. I am just a man. That's what he'd say, something like that.
All art's appropriation now, isn't it?
It's certainly all derivative, Paul. You can say that at dinner parties. It's all
Yes,
derivative.
very derivative.
I would say so. So, I mean, you know, art is one person's view of the world. So, you know, if you're going to get uptight about whether art's appropriated or not, then...
But if surely you can just say you're gay. You can be an actor and say, I'm playing a gay man, I'm
saying this
gay.
to me, Ben, and I'm still not going to say it.
Well, you should. You need to come out and say it.
Do you think this is... I don't know much about Rupert Everett. I don't know whether he's always been this kind of crazy-based guy, or do you think this is the new MAGA Musk-Trump world where we're starting to see people...
Wants to be relevant, maybe.
Yeah, a bit...
But then I don't know, because I think Joe Rogan said that lots of celebrities and comedians and actors had messaged him to say, oh, well done for supporting Trump. And maybe Rupert Everett has always thought this. And, yeah, like you say, this is the time that he feels he can actually come out and say it.
OK, staying with the Daily Mail, and it looks like the NHS might be in trouble over on Blue Sky, Paul.
Well, I'm going to try not to slurp my way through this, because a comment on Twitter from Shay said that please ask Paul to stop slurping. It's bloody annoying. Nice bloke, though. Cheers, Shay. Whatever. NHS trust that spread misinformation will claim trans women could breastfeed as well as new mothers makes U-turn under pressure. A leaked letter from this year, we've covered this a few times this year, from the medical director of the University Hospitals Sussex NHS Foundation Trust has suggested that milk produced by trans women, i.e. men, is comparable to that produced by women, i.e. actual women. Amid mounting pressure, they've changed their view, and they've said that the Trust insists its guidance was never intended to encourage trans women to chest feed. I mean, oh my goodness. So we have covered this several times this year. And what's remarkable to me throughout this is that the main protagonists within this are all qualified medical professionals talking about men breastfeeding. And we know they can't... Sorry, chest feeding. Thanks for correcting me, Ben. I'll try not to slurp. Whilst I'm chest feeding. Sorry.
What an image. Don't put that into AI.
I mean... This stuff now, I think, is starting to pass through. I think, you know, a man can chest feed given the right tools, pumping equipment, and chemicals, but it's not any good for children and babies.
Well,
I don't know.
There's someone here that says that we don't know. The Trust is not aware of any instances where trans women or biological men have expressed a wish to be helped to feed their partner's child. That's not the quote I wanted. They're talking about that there hasn't been any instances, but there has. And I looked it up, I Googled it. And the BBC, 15th of December 2018, they talked about the first person who was able to do this. And the issue was that they produced a modest but functional amount. And the child was only fed this milk, or whatever you want to call it, this excretion for 6 weeks, and that's all the child had for 6 weeks. And then they started to add in other foods because it wasn't producing enough of the stuff. So it has happened.
Of course I've been fed man's milk before. It was salty, but no, not good in tea.
No.
Oh, it's just ridiculous. It's absolutely ridiculous. But I guess if someone has done it, then... fair play, I don't know.
Well, and this is another one of those things that people are slowly backing away. I mean, you wouldn't have said this 18 months ago. And I wonder whether we should be gracious about it, because it's a U-turn that needs to happen.
Yeah. And perhaps we should, magnanimous
we should just say, well
in our victory. But it's a victory. It's not a victory for us. It's a victory for those babies.
Indeed, yeah, very good point. Moving to The Guardian, Do your best on this one, Ben. It's the taking part that counts.
I'll try. It is important for kids to... Is it important for kids to learn about winning and losing? A lot of people are saying that, yes, it is. Apparently, it's vital to children's well-being and mental health to learn what it takes to win and to lose and to feel those setbacks like you would in life. So if you lose, you deal with it, you dust yourself off and you have your man's milk and you go, I'm going to get on and do it. And, yeah, completely right. Of course children should be taught this. I think that at the moment there's a gentle parenting thing going on. Where it's just, the taking part, it's the taking part. And then you end up with a society that just refuse to lose on anything. So, Donald Trump wins. No, we're going to scream and shout until we get our own way. That comes from this sort of thing of just children being told that no matter what, you are right and you deserve to be in this competition.
Yeah.
Everyone gets a medal. No.
There's fewer greater skills that any human can learn as they're growing up than that of losing and losing graciously and understanding what it's like to lose graciously. Winning is important. You should win with grace also, but kids should learn that there is a first, second, and third place. And if you didn't make that, perhaps you should try harder next time. And we should celebrate those people. And we should be magnanimous in our defeat. And that can proliferate itself throughout society. Otherwise, you end up with a whole generation of adults that believe everything they say is important and all the things that they want they should get.
This being The Guardian, though, of course, it does kind of... they're quoting experts in the field, people who are saying that maybe you shouldn't be too harsh. They talk about not saying look alive to kids and phrases like that. And then there's this lovely quote, sports become a battleground in the culture wars. Has it, though? I mean...
Not really. I mean, in terms of maybe some of the trans debate it has done, and we shouldn't underestimate the problem that sometimes is seen in youth grassroots football in particular, and I'm sure it's the same in rugby and other sports, where parents are very overzealous and they get carried away.
Yeah, that's true.
And they create a lot of problems for the kids themselves.
It can definitely go the other way.
But my argument would be it's probably those parents that were never taught to lose. Those parents that were never taught to win properly.
Yes, it skips a generation and then it's gone. Paul, is English literature on the way out? And if so, what's the Telegraph blaming?
Has wokeness killed the English literature degree, Cresta? The number of students taking English literature at A-level dropped from 83,000 in 2013 to 54,000 in 2023. There are less people taking up English literature. It's seen as less glamorous than maybe some of the other things. There's two things that's going on here. One of the key issues is back in 1998, every student became a customer. When they introduced the tuition fees, so basically universities and colleges had to serve these customers because they were paying and they would choose what courses they were going to do, and then they had to keep pushing those courses in order to fund their colleges and universities. And now essentially our education is led by lucrative foreign students, so we are at the behest of whatever those foreign students want. And one of the things that's being killed as a result is interest in English literature, which is a quintessentially English degree, really. It's sort of kind of the gateway for intellectuals to critical thinking,
yes,
law.
Makes the point in here that you might go in and be an English graduate and then do law, something like that. But as you say, it's...
I don't understand why it's not as popular. It was like at school when I did English literature, it was the easiest one to do. It was the easiest. You just could say anything. And now you could probably say, I've read Lord of the Flies and I think Piggy was struggling with his gender. And that would be a point of view that you could get past on. So do it. It's easy.
Yeah, I mean...
not my personal... no, I loved English literature.
Yeah, I did.
I think it's really sad.
And also the language... The whole point of this article is wokeness killing English literature. Language is being policed. And by its very nature, English literature, some of it's quite old. And people are criticising it for being what it is and of its time, instead of studying it for its worth.
And it does have worth. OK, still to come, what's the latest family fun to be given a trigger warning and find out what nutritionists really eat on their naughty days? This is Headliners, only on GB News.
Sunday with Michael Portillo from 11, only on GB News.
My next guest's book will certainly provoke you. Lord Sarch's book, Orgasm, probes 21 such ideas, chapter by chapter, in a stimulating reading experience, covering subjects from geopolitics and etiquette to the economy and the afterlife. Maurice Sarchi argues that rigorous thinking can create a blissful mental experience.
Well, the title is Orgasm, and I try to investigate the question of whether it's possible for there to be an orgasm of the mind which is equal in bliss to a physical orgasm. That's very interesting. And theoretically, the way that arises, I'll finish. Theoretically, the way that arises is by addressing conflicting ideas and then for there to be a revelation of true wisdom. That's the purpose of the book. And I think you can sum up British politics completely in 2 sentences. You'll understand very well, Mike. Conservatives are efficient but cruel. Labour is caring but incompetent. So you can see there that if you have a situation in which the Conservative Party turns out to be, in people's opinion, inefficient and cruel, well, then you're likely to have a very bad election result, which is exactly what we just did. And why?
So you have quite a lot to say to Kemi Badenoch. I mean, the first thing you would say to her would be, read my book, please, I suppose.
Well, that's absolutely the first thing. It's a perfect Christmas present for her to give, as I was saying. So that's number one. So after she's done that, well, then her level of wisdom, which I'm sure is already very high, will be greatly increased, and she'll be able to address the complex, provocative, controversial issues aired in this book.
GB News, the People's Channel.
Join me, Nana Akwe, for an informative, interactive news programme with a difference. It's fun.
No, he didn't say that, Dave.
I'm so surprised.
I think there's an element of truth to that.
Join me from 3 p.m. every weekend, only on GB News, Britain's news channel.
In the GB Newsroom, we bring you the news as it happens.
With our team of dedicated journalists across the UK.
We're ready to keep you up to date with what's happening every half an hour, every single day. Bulletins here on GB News.
The People's Channel.
Britain's news channel.
Nightmare commute. Kick it up a gear with GB News Radio. You can listen online and on DAB+ and on the GB News app. We're also on TuneIn and the Radio Player app. From the school run to rush hour, get revved up with GB News Radio. We are the People's Channel, Britain's news channel.
Welcome back to Headliners. We've got some more Your Say comments coming in. Smelly Fart says, bring back misandry. I mean, Smelly, come on, it's alive and well, isn't it? I thought that was the thing.
First name terms now.
And Andy Davies says, the studio looks very festive. Well done, GB. I tend to agree.
It's beautiful.
Lovely.
Yeah, Shay's not said anything more about my slurping, so I think she's probably gone to bed. Slurped herself to sleep.
Wouldn't she?
Easy.
Fair enough. OK, so I'm going to have a look at Monday's Metro now. And good news for Lewis Schaefer when he finally has his last show here and he needs a new job. Sorry, I don't know who's got this.
I think it's Ben.
It's me. Yes, the Metro. Belgium becomes first country in world to give sex workers basic employment rights. So, under a new law, apparently this is the first of its kind in Europe and across the rest of the world. They'll be entitled to health insurance, pensions, maternity leave and sick days. And one of the ladies said, I was having sex with clients 1 week before giving birth. So that just shows you just how much this is needed.
I hope she got a good appraisal that year.
I don't find this very uplifting. I know I'm an old-fashioned prude, but the idea that...
Yeah, it's a bit...
I mean, it just makes me a bit sad.
Sort of dystopian.
I guess it's better for the people that are already in it, but this line here, for many sex workers, the job is a necessity. That doesn't fill me with Christmas cheer.
No, it's not really.
Do you feel like this is a good move for the people who are doing this?
It fills them with something.
Unnecessary.
Disgusting.
This goes out when you have breakfast.
How do you accrue holidays as that? What counts?
Don't know, Ben. You'll have to Google it in your own time.
I will find out.
We've got a story from the Mail now about shouting. He's behind you. Hang on, haven't we covered Greg Wallace already?
I've got this one. Theatre bosses issue trigger warnings for Cinderella pantomime over audiences yelling, behind you, before offering adult showings over Christmas. So apparently people need to be told that people will be shouting in the theatre, and also that there will be jokes that aren't just for kids, that are for adults as well. I thought everybody knew this going to a panto. I thought they knew I'm going to be bored. There's going to be a few times.
How dare
Do you love
you?
panto?
Well, no. But
Well, there you go. How many pantos have you been to?
GBNews, you've got to get into the... I feel like it's
Oh,
a
yes,
very
she does.
British tradition. Oh, yes, she does.
Yeah. I mean, the whole point of pantomime is that it appeals to both children and adults, isn't it? And we should... I mean, who wants... I mean, what grown adults want to protect their children from fun? Essentially, this is what it is. I feel... Yeah, I mean, I don't want my daughter to have any fun at all, but that's another story. I mean, the theatre, I guess, now are just having to be protective because of the type of customer that will come in to their theatre, and they will make this type of complaint. I run comedy clubs.
That's all it takes.
People will come in and say, will there be laughing?
Yeah.
And I go, yes.
It's the clapping thing. People like to do this instead of clapping.
They're not in my comedy clubs.
I've just remembered something awful that happened to me. This is why I'm funny about pantos. We used to go every year when I was a kid, and one year we went to the one with the spider, Miss Muffet. Which one is that?
Miss Muffet?
The spider comes down, and in the panto they killed this giant spider.
Oh,
and
my
somebody said, you should never kill a spider, all the baby ones will run in your knickers. And then somebody ran behind the audience and threw rice over the audience.
Oh, my God.
We needed a trigger warning. Oh, okay, flashbacks.
Is Miss Muffet allowed to sit on a tuffet still?
I don't know.
Sounds somewhat sexual.
Well,
It all
this
sounds
was some
arousing
time
to
ago.
me.
Yeah. We're all about balance on GB News. How is The Guardian applying this to Christmas lunch, Paul?
It's about balance. It's about balancing out December. Why nutritionists overindulge at Christmas too? Experts say they also enjoy ultra-processed treats at this time of year. The problem is when it becomes an everyday staple. And I agree, because I am essentially the product of a Christmas that never stopped. I mean, I think it was Christmas of, like, 2004. I thought, this is delicious. I just carried it on throughout the year.
It's an amazing strapline.
Yeah, I'm on, like, a box of Quality Street a week, Twiglets every day, Pigs in Blankets. That's my nickname, mate.
Nice.
Ben, any thoughts on moderation?
I just think, at the moment, the way the world is, the way the country is, sure, there's a lot of people going sober at the moment. There's a lot of people looking after themselves. I would say we don't know how long we've got left.
No.
So, stuff your face. Stuff your face,
Not
get
with
drunk.
that attitude. OK, Daily Star next, and an alternative delivery method for anyone who misses the Christmas post, Ben.
This from the Daily Star. Dead rats and pigeons being used by inmates to smuggle drugs into crisis-hit jail. So apparently people are throwing over dead rats and dead pigeons with drugs inside them to stop guards from finding them or to look for them, which is immediately strange to me, because if a prisoner says, if you've got a guard comes up, if you've got drugs, no, I've just got this dead pigeon, why wouldn't you just go, oh, no, fair enough.
It is a lot more suspicious, isn't it?
Yeah, a lot more suspicious. Well, there's no women in this jail. Give him the pigeon. Like, come on.
The trusted method is obviously up the old...
Yeah, which is actually, there is a slang, up the pigeon. That's that's one of the slangs.
You're pulling my pigeon.
Smells like a dead rat in here. That's all. Yeah.
If you were the person who was having the need of the drugs, this kind of behaviour doable. But if you're the person on the outside, what's motivating you to do this?
That's true. You've got to catch the rat and catch the pigeon, stuff it with drugs.
There's a rat in the prison. What am I going to do?
Yeah, you've got to question the sanity of that person.
Well, it's a really good point, isn't it? I'm head rat thrower for Brixton.
OK, the show is nearly over, so let's take another quick look at tomorrow's front pages. The Telegraph has Wallace, middle-class women of a certain age cause row. The Express has Labour budget will cost economy $10 billion. The I newspaper has British public backs closer EU trade deal over Trump deal. And The Times has Labour NHS target will make A&E waits worse. I don't know why you're finding that funny, Paul. Anything you'd like to share with the class?
I was thinking
It's been
about
a very
rats.
slick and professional show, Paul.
Wonderful.
The Mirror has Disaster Chef, disasters, wouldn't know about that. And the Daily Star has When You're in a Really, Really, Really Deep Hole, Stop Digging. Chris Wallace. That's it for tonight's show. Thank you to my guests, Paul and Ben. Have you had a lovely time?
Oh, Chris, it's been most wonderful, thank you.
You look so
It's been
sweet.
wonderful, yeah, really enjoyed it.
Yeah, I'm looking forward, because I go and sleep on the street now, so this is the favourite part of the day.
You're all wrong. OK. Josh Howie will be here tomorrow night at 11 p.m, joined by Kerry Marks, and AD McQueen will be here. If you're watching at 5 a.m, then please stay tuned, because now it's time for breakfast. Good night.